Heart's Obsession presents The Rogue's Redemption. Part 1, The Exile's Return. The Long Road Home. The sun burned hot against Kira's weathered skin as she stood at the edge of the forest. 5 years. 5 long years since she had seen these trees, breathed this air, walked this land. The borderlands had been harsh and unforgiving, but they had made her stronger. She was not the same frightened girl who had been dragged away in chains, accused of crimes she never committed. Her pack had cast her out. They called her traitor. They said she sold secrets to their enemies. They believed the lies without question. The memory still stung like an open wound. She had screamed her innocence, begged them to listen, pleaded for just one person to believe her. But no one had. Not even him. Kira adjusted the worn leather pack on her shoulders and started walking. Her boots crunched against the dry leaves. Every step brought back memories. This path led to the village center. That clearing was where she used to train. Those rocks marked the spot where she first shifted into her wolf form. Everything was familiar yet felt like a lifetime ago. She had survived the wasteland through pure determination. The borderlands were where rogues and outcasts went to die. But Kira refused to die. She learned to hunt alone. She fought off wild beasts. She endured freezing winters in caves. She became harder, faster, smarter. The weak girl was gone. In her place stood a warrior. Now she was coming home. Not to beg for forgiveness. Not to plead for acceptance. She was coming home to clear her name and expose the real traitor. She knew the truth. She had evidence. And she would make them all see what they had been too blind to notice 5 years ago. Cold welcome. The village appeared through the trees just as she remembered it. Wooden houses with smoke rising from chimneys. Children playing in the dirt roads. Women hanging laundry. Men returning from hunting. Normal pack life. Life that had continued without her. The first person who saw her froze. Then another. Then another. Soon everyone was staring. Whispers spread like wildfire. That's her. That's Kira. The traitor. She came back. Why would she return? Kira walked through the center of the village with her head held high. She met their stares without flinching. Let them look. Let them whisper. She had nothing to hide. Not anymore. An older woman spat on the ground as Kira passed. A man pulled his child away from her path. Guards reached for their weapons. The hatred was thick in the air. It wrapped around her like chains, but she refused to let it slow her down. Then she saw him. Alpha Damon stood on the steps of the pack house, tall and commanding. His dark hair was longer than she remembered. His face had new scars. His eyes were colder. He wore the authority of leadership like a cloak. This was not the boy she once knew. This was the Alpha who had let her be exiled. Their eyes met across the distance. For one brief moment, something flickered in his expression. Surprise? Pain? Regret? But it vanished quickly, replaced by the stone face of a leader. Kira. His voice carried across the silent crowd. You dare return to this territory? She climbed the steps until she stood before him. They were the same height now. She had grown in more ways than one. I dare, she said simply. I have every right to be here. You have no rights here, a voice sneered from beside Damon. You gave up those rights when you betrayed us. Kira turned to face Beta Marcus. He looked prosperous and smug. His clothes were fine. His posture relaxed. He stood at Damon's right hand, the position of highest trust. The position he had used to destroy her life. I never betrayed anyone, Kira said, her voice steady and clear. But someone did. Someone sold pack secrets to our enemies. Someone caused the death of 12 warriors. Someone let an innocent person take the blame. Marcus's face reddened. How dare you continue this lie? We all know what you did. Do you? Kira challenged. She looked around at the gathered crowd. Did any of you see me commit treason? Did anyone witness me meeting with enemies? Or did you all just believe what you were told? The truth comes out. Silence fell over the village square. People shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. They had believed Marcus because he was beta. They had believed the evidence he presented. They never questioned it. Damon's jaw tightened. The evidence was clear, Kira. We found letters in your room. Letters addressed to the Shadow Pack. Letters discussing our patrol schedules and weaknesses. Letters that were planted, Kira said firmly. Tell me, Damon, did you ever wonder why those letters were so easy to find? Why they were left in plain sight? Why a traitor would be so careless? Traitors make mistakes, Marcus interjected quickly. Too quickly. Kira smiled coldly. Yes. They do. And someone made a big mistake 5 years ago. They thought I would die in the borderlands. They thought I would never come back. They thought they got away with it. She turned her full attention to Marcus. They were wrong. Marcus's confident expression faltered for just a second. But that second was enough. Kira saw the flash of fear in his eyes. She saw the truth written on his face. A young woman pushed through the crowd. Lyra, Damon's sister. She was beautiful and kind, with long auburn hair and gentle eyes. She stood beside Marcus, her hand in his. Kira's heart ached. Marcus had woven himself so deeply into this pack that he was now engaged to the Alpha's sister. Kira, Lyra said softly, why did you come back? You could have started a new life somewhere else. Why return to a place that holds such pain? Kira looked at the girl she once considered a sister. Because my name means something to me. Because the truth matters. Because I will not let a liar and a murderer enjoy the life he stole from me. An unexpected offer. Damon raised his hand for silence. The crowd quieted immediately. He studied Kira with an unreadable expression. She could feel him assessing her, measuring the changes 5 years had made. You claim innocence, he said slowly. You accuse Marcus of crimes. But you bring no proof. Just words. I will bring proof, Kira promised. Give me time. Give me a chance to show you what really happened. Never. Marcus exploded. She should be arrested immediately. Throw her back out or lock her in the dungeons. But Damon held up his hand again. Something flickered in his eyes as he looked at Kira. Something complicated. There is another matter, he said. Rogue attacks have increased along our borders. We have lost 3 patrols in the last month. The rogues are organized and dangerous. They know our territory better than they should. He paused meaningfully. Someone has been giving them information. The crowd murmured nervously. Fear rippled through them. Damon continued, we need warriors. We need fighters who know how to survive against impossible odds. We need someone who has lived in the borderlands and understands how rogues think. Kira saw where this was going. She felt a spark of hope kindle in her chest. I propose a deal, Damon announced. Kira will help us defend against the rogue threat. In exchange, she will have the opportunity to prove her innocence. She will be under constant supervision. She will report directly to me. And if she helps us defeat this threat, the council will re-examine her case. The crowd erupted in protest. Marcus looked furious. But several warriors nodded thoughtfully. They were practical people. They needed help. And Kira had clearly survived 5 years of hell. You cannot be serious. Marcus shouted. She is the enemy. I am Alpha, Damon said coldly. And this is my decision. He turned to Kira. What say you? Will you help defend the pack that exiled you? Kira wanted to refuse. Part of her wanted to walk away and let them face the consequences of their blindness. But this was still her pack. These were still her people. And this was her chance. I accept, she said clearly. I will help defend the pack. I will find the rogues. And I will prove my innocence. Damon nodded. Then it is settled. You will stay in the warriors' barracks. You will train with our fighters. And you will follow my orders without question. Understood, Alpha. The formality hurt. Once they had called each other by name. Once they had been friends. Once they had been more than friends. But that was before. Before the lies. Before the exile. Before everything broke. Echoes of the past. That evening, Kira stood in the small room assigned to her in the warriors' barracks. It was plain and simple. A bed, a chest, a small window. But it had walls and a roof. After 5 years of sleeping in caves and under trees, it felt like luxury. A knock on the door made her turn. Damon stood in the doorway, alone. Without his guards. Without his alpha presence. For a moment, he looked like the boy she remembered. May I come in? He asked quietly. She nodded, not trusting her voice. He closed the door behind him and stood awkwardly in the small space. They had not been alone together in 5 years. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken words. You have changed, he finally said. 5 years in the borderlands will do that, she replied. Did you expect me to stay the same? I expected you to die, he admitted, his voice rough. Everyone said you would not last a month out there. Rogues, wild animals, starvation, exposure. The borderlands kill everyone eventually. I am harder to kill than you thought. Clearly. He stepped closer, his eyes scanning her face. You have scars now. On the outside, she said. You should see the ones inside. He flinched. Kira, I don't. She held up her hand. Don't apologize. Don't say you had no choice. Don't tell me you did what you had to do. I don't want to hear it. What do you want to hear? She met his eyes directly. I want to hear that you regret it. I want to hear that some part of you wondered if I was telling the truth. I want to hear that you thought about me even once in 5 years. The words hung between them like accusations. Because that was what they were. Accusations of abandonment. Accusations of broken promises. Accusations of a love that had not been strong enough to withstand lies. I thought about you every day, Damon said quietly. Every single day. I wondered if you were alive. I wondered if you were safe. I wondered if you hated me. I did hate you, Kira said honestly. For the first year, I hated you so much it consumed me. I hated you for not believing me. I hated you for choosing duty over me. I hated you for being so blind. And now? Now I don't have the energy to hate. Now I just want the truth to come out. Now I want to clear my name and move on with my life. Damon looked pained. We were supposed to be mated. We were supposed to lead this pack together. We were supposed to have a future. That future died the day you exiled me, Kira said firmly. You made your choice, Damon. You chose to believe Marcus over me. You chose the pack over your heart. You chose duty over love. I was Alpha, he said desperately. I had responsibilities. I had to think of everyone, not just us. You had to think of justice, she corrected. You had to think of the truth. You had to think of the girl who loved you with everything she had. But you didn't. You took the easy path. You believed the convenient lie. He reached for her hand but she pulled away. The touch would hurt too much. The memories would overwhelm her. Kira, please. We should keep this professional, she said, her voice steady despite the pain. I am here to clear my name and help the pack. Nothing more. Our past is dead. Let it stay buried. Damon looked like she had struck him. But he nodded slowly. As you wish. I will see you at training tomorrow morning. He turned to leave but paused at the door. For what it's worth, I am glad you survived. I am glad you came back. And I am sorry. I am so deeply sorry for everything. Then he was gone, leaving Kira alone with her memories and her pain. The attack begins. That night, Kira could not sleep. She lay on the narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the pack settling down for the night. Everything felt surreal. She was home but not home. Among her people but apart from them. So close to Damon but further away than ever. Just before dawn, the alarm bells rang. The sound cut through the quiet like a knife. Kira was on her feet immediately, old instincts taking over. She grabbed her weapons and ran outside. Chaos had erupted in the village. Warriors were running toward the eastern border. Women were gathering children. Guards were taking defensive positions. The smell of smoke and blood carried on the wind. Rogues, someone shouted. They breached the eastern patrol. Kira ran toward the fighting. She saw Damon already there, leading the defense. Marcus was shouting orders. Warriors were engaging with a group of rogues who had somehow gotten past the border guards. These were not ordinary rogues. They moved with purpose and coordination. They knew exactly where to strike. Someone had told them how to get in. Kira drew her blade and launched herself into the fight. Her body moved on instinct, honed by 5 years of surviving alone. She was faster than she used to be. Stronger. More deadly. The borderlands had taught her well. She cut down one rogue, then another. She moved through the battle like a ghost, appearing where needed, striking where it hurt. The pack warriors stared in shock. This was not the girl they remembered. This was a weapon forged in the harshest fire. A rogue lunged at Lyra from behind. She did not see him coming. He raised his blade to strike. Without thinking, Kira threw herself between them. She blocked the attack, her blade meeting his with a shower of sparks. Then she twisted and drove her knife into his chest. Lyra stared at her in shock. You saved me. Duck. Kira shouted, pushing Lyra down as another rogue swung at them. She caught the blade on her arm, felt the bite of steel, but she ignored the pain. She kicked the rogue backward and finished him with a quick thrust. Around them, the pack was winning. The rogues were retreating. But they left a message in their wake. Scrawled in blood on the ground were the words, "We know your secrets." Kira stared at the message, her mind racing. The rogues had inside information. Someone was still betraying the pack. And that someone wanted everyone to know it. She turned and found Marcus staring at her from across the battlefield. His face was pale. His eyes were wide with something that looked like fear. Their gazes locked, and in that moment, Kira knew. He realized she was not the broken girl he had destroyed. She was a threat. A real threat. And this fight was just beginning. Part 2, Secrets and Shadows. After the battle. The sun rose over a village scarred by battle. 3 warriors had been killed. Dozens more were wounded. The rogues had retreated, but everyone knew they would return. They always returned. Kira sat on the steps of the healing house, watching the healers tend to the injured. Her arm was bandaged where the rogue's blade had caught her, but she barely felt it. 5 years of injuries had taught her to ignore pain. Warriors kept walking past her, and each one gave her a different look. Some nodded with respect. Others still glared with suspicion. But none could deny what they had witnessed. She had fought like a demon to protect them. She had saved Lyra's life. Even a traitor would not do that. Or so they thought. That was incredible, a young voice said. Kira looked up to see a warrior barely out of his teens standing before her. He had sandy brown hair and eager eyes. The way you moved out there. Where did you learn to fight like that? The borderlands, Kira said simply. You learn fast or you die. The young warrior extended his hand. I'm Finn. I joined the Pack Guard 2 years ago. I have heard stories about you, but... He hesitated. But you thought they were lies? Kira finished. You thought I was the villain? Finn looked uncomfortable but honest. Yes. But after seeing you fight today, after seeing you save the Alpha's sister. He shook his head. I don't know what to believe anymore. Believe the truth, Kira told him. Not what others tell you is true. The truth. Damon appeared from inside the healing house. He looked exhausted. His clothes were stained with blood, though Kira could not tell if it was his or someone else's. His eyes found her immediately. Walk with me, he said. It was not quite an order, not quite a request. Kira stood and followed him away from the village center. They walked in silence until they reached the old training grounds. This place held so many memories. Here is where they had trained together as children. Here is where they had first kissed. Here is where he had promised to make her his mate. A lifetime ago. Thank you, Damon said quietly. For saving Lyra. For fighting with us. You did not have to do that. I made a deal, Kira replied. I keep my word. Unlike some people. The jab landed. She saw him wince. Marcus wants you locked up, Damon continued. He says you probably planned the attack. That you let the rogues in so you could play hero. Kira laughed bitterly. Of course he does. Because that makes perfect sense. I survived 5 years alone just to come back and help rogues attack my own pack. Brilliant plan. I don't believe him. The words hung in the air between them. Kira turned to look at Damon fully. You don't believe him now. But you believed him 5 years ago. I know. Damon ran his hand through his hair in frustration. I know, Kira. And I don't have an excuse. But seeing you out there today, seeing the way you fought to protect us. He paused. I started wondering. What if I was wrong? What if we were all wrong? What if? Kira repeated. Those 2 words are 5 years too late, Damon. I know. But maybe it's not too late to find the truth. Kira studied him carefully. She saw the exhaustion in his eyes. The doubt. The guilt. He was starting to question everything. Good. It was about time. The rogues had inside information, she said. They knew exactly where to strike. They knew when the patrol would change. They knew our weak points. She met his gaze directly. Someone is still feeding them intelligence. I know, Damon admitted. The council is investigating. Then let me help. I know how rogues think. I lived among them. I fought them. I understand how they operate. She stepped closer. Give me access to the patrol schedules. Let me see the attack patterns. Let me investigate. Marcus will never allow it. Marcus doesn't have to know. Damon's eyes widened slightly. You want me to work with you behind his back? Behind the council's back? I want you to help me find the truth, Kira said firmly. Unless you're afraid of what we might discover. The challenge hung between them. Damon was alpha. He was supposed to be above suspicion, above doubt. But Kira saw the conflict in his eyes. He was torn between duty and something else. Something that looked like it might be trust. Meet me in my study tonight, he finally said. After everyone is asleep. I will show you what we have. The investigation. That evening, Kira slipped through the shadows toward the pack house. She had spent the afternoon watching the village, learning the new patterns, understanding the changes that had happened in 5 years. Everything was familiar but different. Like looking at a home through warped glass. Damon's study was on the second floor, overlooking the forest. She climbed the back stairs and knocked softly on his door. He opened it immediately, as if he had been waiting. The room was exactly as she remembered. Bookshelves lined the walls. Maps covered the desk. Weapons hung on display. But there were new additions. Portraits of fallen warriors. A larger, more ornate alpha seat. Documents and reports stacked everywhere. Here, Damon said, spreading out a map on the desk. These are all the rogue attacks over the past 6 months. Kira studied the map carefully. Red marks indicated where attacks had occurred. She traced the pattern with her finger, her mind working. They're testing you, she said after a moment. Each attack is in a different location, but they all target the same thing. Patrols. Not the village. Not the farms. Not the hunting parties. Just patrols. Why? Because they want to know your response time. They want to understand how you reorganize after an attack. They are learning your defensive patterns. She looked up at him. This isn't random violence. This is preparation for something bigger. Damon's face went pale. An invasion? Maybe. Or a coordinated strike. Either way, someone is teaching them how you think. How you fight. How you protect. She tapped the map. And whoever that someone is, they know you very well. The only people who know our defensive strategies are the council and the senior warriors, Damon said. Are you suggesting one of them is the traitor? I'm suggesting you look at who benefits from chaos. Who gains power when the pack is afraid? Who has been consolidating influence since I left? Damon didn't answer, but his eyes flickered toward the portraits on the wall. One showed Marcus receiving his beta position. I need proof, he said quietly. I cannot accuse my beta without proof. Then let's find proof. For the next 2 hours, they worked together like they used to. Kira reviewed reports while Damon cross-referenced dates. They spread out documents, compared testimonies, traced timelines. It felt natural. It felt right. It felt like coming home. Here, Kira said suddenly. This report. The attack 3 weeks ago. The Eastern Patrol was changed at the last minute due to weather. Only 3 people knew about the change. You, Marcus, and the head patrol captain. Captain Brennan is beyond suspicion, Damon said. He has served for 20 years. Then that leaves Marcus. Kira pulled out another document. And look at this. Every time you were away visiting other territories, attacks increased. But when you were here, they stopped. Because they did not want to risk me being in the battle? No. Because Marcus could not pass information without you noticing. Kira felt excitement building. Damon, he is playing you. He feeds rogues information when you are distracted. He makes sure you are away during key attacks. He positions himself as your most trusted advisor while undermining everything you build. Damon sank into his chair, looking years older. 5 years ago, he brought me evidence of your betrayal. Letters. Witness statements. Everything pointed to you. I never questioned it because Marcus was my friend. He had no reason to lie. Except he wanted power, Kira said softly. And I was in his way. I was going to be your mate. Your equal. I would have had influence and authority. He couldn't allow that. So he framed you. Damon's voice was hollow. He destroyed your life to advance his position. And it worked. He is now your beta. He is engaged to your sister. He has everything he wanted. Kira knelt beside Damon's chair. But we can stop him. We can prove what he did. Damon looked at her, and she saw tears in his eyes. I am so sorry, Kira. I am so desperately sorry. I failed you in every possible way. Save your apologies, she said, though her voice was gentler. Help me now. That is how you make it right. He nodded, wiping his eyes roughly. What do we need? Evidence of his meetings with the rogues. Written communication. Witness testimony. Something that cannot be denied. The rogues who attacked today, Damon said slowly. We captured one. He is in the dungeons. Marcus wanted him executed immediately, but I ordered him kept alive for questioning. Then let's question him. Into the darkness. The dungeons beneath the pack house were cold and damp. Torches flickered on the walls, casting dancing shadows. The captured rogue was chained to the wall of the farthest cell. He looked half dead already, covered in wounds from the battle. Leave us, Damon ordered the guards. They hesitated but obeyed. Alphas were not questioned. Kira approached the cell bars. The rogue looked up at her with hate-filled eyes. You, he snarled. The one who killed my brothers. Your brothers tried to kill my people, Kira replied calmly. Who sent you? Who told you how to get past our borders? The rogue spat blood at her feet. I will tell you nothing. Then you will die here, Damon said coldly. Slowly. Painfully. Is that what you want? I am already dead, the rogue laughed. He will kill me if I talk. He will kill my family. He will destroy everything I have. Who? Kira pressed. Who threatens you? The beta, the rogue said, his voice dropping to a whisper. The one with the scarred hand. He came to our camp 3 months ago. He offered us gold and land if we would attack your patrols. He gave us maps. He told us when to strike. Kira's heart pounded. Marcus has a scar on his right hand. From a training accident years ago. I need more, Damon said desperately. I need something that will convince the council. The rogue coughed violently. He has a meeting place. In the old ruins north of here. Every full moon, he meets with our leader. They plan the attacks together. His eyes flickered to Kira. He said the next big attack would be in 2 weeks. He said it would destroy the pack. He said once you were gone, he would take over. Kira and Damon exchanged glances. This was it. This was the proof they needed. The full moon is in 3 days, Damon said. If we can catch Marcus meeting with the rogue leader, we will have witnesses. We will have undeniable proof. It's a trap, the rogue said suddenly. He knows someone suspects him. He has been acting strange. Nervous. If you go to the ruins, he might be ready for you. Then we will be ready for him, Kira said firmly. She looked at Damon. We need people we can trust. People who won't run to Marcus. Finn, Damon said immediately. The young warrior. He questioned Marcus's orders during the battle. And Captain Brennan. I have known him my entire life. And Lyra, Kira added. She deserves to know who she is engaged to. Damon looked pained. This will destroy her. Better destroyed by truth than living a lie, Kira said gently. She is stronger than you think. She is your sister. She has your strength. Unexpected alliance. The next day, Kira found Finn training in the yard. He was practicing sword forms, his movements precise but lacking the edge of real combat experience.